Hello, it's just me today to talk about Ting and other things. It's Friday, December 27, 2024. And I'm going to start with Ting, which is the most important thing. Whisker Labs has invented a gadget which they have named Ting. And this is something you plug into an outlet in your home and it analyzes the electricity. And in particular, it checks to see if there's high frequency electrical noise, which indicates that something is shorting out in your home. Either the built-in wiring has a short or somebody has plugged in a defective device with a short. And this is such a good idea that major insurance companies will pay for it. If you have to pay for it, it's $100 once and then $50 a year. But it then warns you if there's an electrical problem with your home, which is likely to start a fire. So that seems like a really good idea. Seems like this ought to be standard in every home, like a smoke detector. And there's some other stuff. There's a app called Glide, which you can use to make a Google Sheets spreadsheet into a phone app, which seems to me like it's really doing nothing more than making a view into a database that you might have done with Microsoft Access. But anyway, it makes it into a easy-to-use phone app, which you can then share with your friends. So a guy has an example where he just wanted to make a list of the local restaurants and the way to order food from them and stuff and make a searchable page that anybody could use. So that's pretty nice. You can make one public app for free, but a lot of private apps without having to pay for this thing. So that might be useful for people. Um, the corruption of the incoming Trump administration continues to be really record-setting. He's got record amounts of money for his inaugural event. And the point of this is that those donations are not restricted by campaign finance laws, and industries are donating what seems the standard fee seems to be $1 million each to get 6 tickets to have some semi-private meetings with Trump. And so every big company is doing that. And Trump summarizes this by saying, everybody wants to be my friend on Truth Social. And one of the analysts said, one of the oldest adages in Washington is that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And when Microsoft got sued for antitrust violation 20 years ago, this is what Bill Gates said at the end. He said, what I learned is you have to make political contributions if you want to survive in America. And yet, I haven't noticed Microsoft on that list of donations to the Trump campaign, which might be why the FTC the FTC is now launching another probe of Microsoft over bundling. And of course, I don't think failing to donate to Trump would cause the original investigation here, but it might get them in trouble after Trump gets in. Microsoft, we talked about this before. Microsoft bundled a lot of Office products and other products, including security products, together during the pandemic, and then offered a sort of limited free trial of these to government agencies who would then be hooked on the Microsoft cloud and kind of forced to continue paying for it. And that apparently, they said they carefully crafted this deal with their lawyers to avoid antitrust concerns, but the FTC says this appears to violate laws regulating contracting and competition, and it echoes the Microsoft case from decades ago. This is exactly what their concerns are. This is monopoly abuse. And of course, my first thought is, well, the Trump administration, like most Republicans, like the Republican administration that ended the last one 20 years ago, will immediately drop this. But the commissioners coming in, Andrew Ferguson is who Trump wants to put in charge of the FTC, and he has said we will end big tech's vendetta against competition and free speech. So um, I think that means that Microsoft better pay up their bribe pretty fast or they're going to get punished. Um, anyway, so we've talked a lot in the past about the Kessler syndrome when the junk in orbit makes it impossible to launch more satellites, and we're close to it. The Space Force now sends alerts to people to warn them about impending satellite collisions. And a private company called Kahan Space is tracking more than 60,000 alerts a week for a constellation of around 100 satellites. So they say it's something like 1,000 collision warnings per day. So it must be very difficult to keep satellite up there and constantly be responding to all those. An analysis let me get this. Anyway, 404 Media and other groups have an analysis of how to jailbreak AI chatbots. And let me get the right, yeah, here we go. They call this thing best of N jailbreaking, and it works by repeatedly sampling variations of a prompt by just shuffling capitalization or replacing letters with numbers, just writing something in a slightly different way. And they can achieve more than 50% success on defeating the security model of chatbots within 10,000 variations. So it doesn't mean that the average human could just try a few guesses, but it does show that these filters are not working very well. And now, if they were simple text matching filters to say, are they talking about a bomb or something, then you'd fool them a lot more easily. It sounds like they are putting them through an AI to interpret them, but the AI can be confused. So, anyway, uh, porch pirates stealing your packages off your front door are becoming such a problem that consumers are now finding retailers asking them to pay for package protection. And the deal is you have to pay a few extra bucks for a sort of insurance package protection program, or they won't let you return the item if it goes missing. So that does seem to be a logical response to the situation. I know where I am, there's Amazon lockers nearby, which would be a better solution, I think. Anyway, uh, so AndroGhost is what Check Point calls the most prevalent malware globally, affecting 5% of worldwide organizations during November. And it's a botnet. It attacks all major operating systems, it attacks IoT devices as well, and it appears to be operated by the Chinese government. So that's a thing to look for. Um, I wonder if I can find somebody actually infected by it. It just doesn't look like you have to hunt too far to find them. A biometric smart gun is here. I've heard about these years ago. This is a 9mm handgun with fingerprint and facial recognition technology. And the innovation is if you pull the trigger, it is not a mechanical connection. It sends an electrical connection to an onboard computer, which then decides whether you're really authorized to fire the gun. This is something gun safety experts have wanted for many decades. And until recently, it was blocked by a New Jersey law that would say as soon as such a gun is available, all other guns are banned. And so the pro-gun people blocked it, but that law was apparently repealed. And they've carefully designed this gun in conjunction with like the NRA and such to try to avoid offending the pro-gun people. And it's just going to be an option you can buy along with other guns in the stores instead of forcing everybody to use it. So we'll see how well that works out. At least this would probably be a good idea for homes containing small children, I would think. Anyway, uh, there are drugs to extend longevity. There's quite a few people doing research on this. The problem is if you want to make money with such a drug, the human trials procedure is so lengthy and burdensome and expensive that it's very hard to justify economically. So what these companies are doing is developing longevity drugs for dogs, which is a way you can rapidly sell a product and make some money while going through the lengthy testing for human trials. So there's one called the LOY002 that aims to blunt and reverse metabolic changes associated with aging, reducing frailty by curbing aging-related increases in insulin. And another one that's coming out soon is rapamycin, a cheap, easily produced drug already commonly used as an immunosuppressant for humans after organ transplants, and it has repeatedly been shown to increase lifespan and delay or even reverse many age-related disorders in mice. So if it does the same thing in dogs, they'll have a product you can sell to dog lovers, and this may be very interesting. I didn't know this at all until I read this article here. China's had a problem with mass killings, a lot of them. They're called them revenge on society crimes, and people just get disgusted and go off and kill people. 3 of them happened last month. A man wounded 30 people at an elementary school after suffering investment losses. Then a student who failed his examination stabbed and killed 8 people at a vocational school. And the most 30 victims, 35 people, resulted from a man mowing down a crowd in the southern city of Zhonghai, supposedly upset over his divorce. So the Chinese government is responding to this. Xi has called on all local governments to strengthen prevention and control of risks at the source, strictly prevent extreme cases from occurring, and to resolve conflicts and disputes in a timely manner. And all the commentators say this is probably going to be extremely oppressive from the government. You know, this is I'm just imagining the effect of such an order. I don't think you can stop people from being under pressure and people going nuts. What you can do is just sort of increase surveillance and increase the feeling that someone's watching you and turn in people that are acting suspicious and in general just sort of make society more oppressive. It reminds me of the COVID response, where the Chinese response to COVID was a very extreme lockdown, very ruthlessly enforced to an outrageous extent. They would lock people in their homes by nailing the doors shut and then forget to send in any food and stuff like that until people got so mad they just suddenly abandoned all the precautions and COVID spread like wildfire. They're, they just don't seem to have the ability to have a reasonable response from the government. It's all or nothing. So I was entertained to see that the MAGA movement is now having its civil war. Last night, Vivek Ramaswamy posted stuff on Twitter saying American engineers are lazy and not very good, and so we have to import better engineers from other countries where they respect math and science more. And that, of course, led to a bunch of backlash from people like Laura Loomer saying, the whole point is to stop immigrants. You're not a real MAGA person. And then Musk came in favor of Ramaswamy and said, I have to have H-1B visas to bring in good engineers. There aren't enough good engineers in America. And all the MAGA people then yelled at not Trump, Musk. And Musk then banned their accounts and took away their check marks on Twitter. So this looks like the honeymoon is over. Um, all right. And the last one is a real echo of the past, which I already mentioned that one. The FTC suit of Microsoft is coming again. So anyway, those are news articles I saw. We'll have another one of these on Tuesday. If I can find the right button.